Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and greetings to everyone who watched this video. My name is Nabil Irfan bin Sahir, and I from class CDCS2592C. And today, in this video, we would like to present our project 1. But before we started our presentation, we would like to thanks to the business owner for the cooperation. Without the cooperation, our project 1 will not be completed successfully. Without further ado, let me introduce to you guys what is this business about. The name of the business is Alia Shami Enterprise, and it's run by a handsome man called Muhammed Shukri bin Ramli as a sole proprietorship, which means he owns the business by himself. This business sells a traditional Malaysian dessert called Putu Mayam, and I'm sure several citizens would like to eat this Putu Mayam because the taste is really good. The brand is known as Putu Mayam Pandan Puchong. The business does not have a fixed shop or stall. Instead, it's run at night market or any event. The location change every day depending on where the event held. For an example, during Ramadan, they sells their Putu Mayam at several bazaar around Selangor like Putrajaya, Shah Alam and Puchong. The business was started with 1,000 ringgit Malaysia of the owner owns money as business capital. The main activity of the business is preparing and selling freshly made Putu Mayam to the customer at the market or through some order made by online. There are 3 people working in the business, including the owner. The owner takes full responsibility to handling everything, including cooking, selling, and managing the business. Although the exact date when the business is started was not mentioned, the owner already registered the business with the Company Commission of Malaysia (SSM), and the license is still active until now. The business is small and simple, and it does not have any social media or website, but it continues to operate regularly in the local market. I think that's all from me. I will pass next section to my group members. Thank you so much.
Next, I will proceed our presentation with business characteristic of sole proprietorship. As we know, a sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business structure owned and managed by a single individual. I will share with you guys some key characteristics of sole proprietorship. For the first one is single ownership. Just like I said before, the business is fully owned and controlled by one person. So the owner is responsible for all the things that happen within the business, such as decision making, operations, and outcomes, and others. In our project, we choose Putu Mayam Pandan Puchong with Abang Kri as the owner of the business. So he will manage everything such as buying ingredients, managing finances, and others. Next is unlimited liability. In sole proprietorship, the business owner is personally responsible of all the debts and obligations of the business. So this means if the business fails, the creditors can claim the owner's personal asset to repay the debt. So let's make a scenario like Abang Kri borrows some money from the bank to expand his business. But let's just say his business suffers some loss. So the bank can seize his personal belongings such as car, vans, house to repay his debts. But let's just say he still owes the money, but he doesn't have anything left to pay the debt. So he will be declared as bankrupt, and his future income will be modified and possibly deducted to repay the debt. Other than that, in sole proprietorship, there is no separate legal entity. The owner and the business are considered as one legal entity. So if the business is sued, it is the owner who is legally accountable. For example, let's just say there is a customer files a complaint to Putu Mayam Pandan Puchong due to hygiene issue. So since Putu Mayam Pandan Puchong is not a separate legal entity, the lawsuit is directly against the owner himself, which is Abang Kri. Next, in sole proprietorship, the owner will keep all the profit and suffer all the losses. All income earned by the business will belong entirely to the owner. And if the business suffers some losses, the losses will also go directly to the owner. From our information, Abang Kri earns for about 2,000 ringgit per sales. So all the profits and income will go directly to him. And if the business suffers some losses, the losses will also go directly to Abang Kri. I will proceed with the next key characteristic, which is business registration requirement. In Malaysia, sole proprietorship type of business needs to be registered under Business Registration Act 1956 through Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia (SSM). If I'm not mistaken, if someone wants to start a business, he needs to fill out some forms, brings some personal identification such as IC, and pay some fees. So I would say sole proprietorship is a beginner friendly type of business because the registration is not complicated like the others. For the next one is basic bookkeeping and records. For sole proprietorship, it is not required to prepare audited accounts, basic bookkeeping and records. But although sole proprietorship is not required to do so, it is important to maintain proper financial records for tax and business management. In Putu Mayam Pandan Puchong, Abang Kri prepares a logbook to manage his business. By doing this, he will be financially cautious and maintain proper records to ensure long-term stability. By preparing this logbook, he will also get to track how well his business is doing, and he can plan his next steps and strategy to expand his business more.
Thank you for the past representative. Let's continue. First of all, I will introduce myself. My name is Megat Asri, and I will continue about part C, which is the classification of business item. For the first one is non-current asset, which is contain cooking tools and equipment, stall and van. For the cooking tools and equipment, the owner have as example the stove, the cooking tools like the cover for cook, and the glove for the cooking. That is the owner use for the making the putu mayam. And for the stall, the owner use 4x4 tent because the owner operation in night market. And then for the vehicle, the owner bought a van for the workers to go to the night market every day. So that's all for the non-current asset. Let's move on to the current asset, which is contain cash on hand, cash at bank, account receivable, and inventory as a raw ingredients. For the cash on hand and or cash at bank, the owner
liquid funds for daily operation, like the transaction of daily sales, and then but most of it, the owner got cash on hand, because night market people oftenly use cash. And then for the account receivable, the owner only can get money by the customer who owes the owner. And for the inventory, the owner classification like flour, coconut, and pandan paste, because the owner do the Putu Mayam pandan. And let's move on to the liabilities, which is the liabilities. The owner have account payable, which is the owner have to pay the bills to the suppliers. So that's all for the liabilities. And then next part is capital, which is owner's equipment and contribution. For the owner's equipment, the owner personally use the personal tools for the contribution, like blender or stove or glove, for the making of Putu Mayam pandan. And then owner's contribution, like owner put in the cash or asset for as investing to the company, to the business. And then let's proceed to the revenues. Usually the business of Putu Mayam to get revenues by making the online custom order by the customer, which is customer can order online directly for into the owner, and then owner make their order personal, like not together with the night market, separately, around thousands per month. And lastly, for the expenses, which is this one quite a lot. The first one is employee salaries, like the owner give the salaries or wages to salary each month, around 2,000 something. And then for the rental expenses, when the owner do the operation or at the night market, he used to pay for the stall rental, so that's include into the rental expenses. For the transportation expenses, the owner must take care of fuel expenses and maintenance of the van. So that one is include into the transportation expenses. And lastly, for the process of making Putu Mayam pandan, owner also pay the water and electricity expenses each month. So that's all for the classification of business item. For the next part, I will give to another representative. Thank you.
Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammed, I'm Zaqwan Muhammed Razak, and I will explain on the strengths and weaknesses of the business. Alright, so firstly, produce daily sales result that could help in making good strategy to business to expand. Alright, so since the owner made the daily sales result, he can track daily sales manually. This can be very useful for developing strategies such as
planning promotions. Even without advanced systems, consistent record keeping can still provide valuable insights for the business. Alright, so next, for private information being kept in logbook by the owner. Since all information is handwritten and kept by the owner, there's a reduced risk of external hacking or online leaks. This offers a certain level of security, especially when digital knowledge or access is limited. Next, the stock will not run out because of being restocked frequently. The owner makes sure to regularly restock inventory, which ensures that products remain available for customers. This keeps the business running smoothly and avoid lost sales due to empty shelf. And lastly, no internet is required. This manual system is completely offline. It works in any environment regardless of internet access. This is particularly useful in rural or low connectivity areas or during internet outages, since the business will change places as mentioned before. Alright, so for next section, weaknesses. Firstly, the owner just remember the amount of stock that will lead to misinformation and data mismanagement. Relying solely on memory doesn't really good, since we are human and probably will, of course, will forget, and that's the reasons why this is the weakness of this business. Without proper tracking system, it is easy to forget how much of an item is left, which can lead to overstocking or understocking. Alright. Secondly, manual calculation increase the risk of management errors. Taking orders and calculating sales by hand may lead to mistakes, especially during busy times. These errors can affect profits and cause delays or even frustrate customers, since the owner would open the stall in night market, which will have being busy. The owner would there's a potential of owner to calculate errors in calculation. And lastly, did not have good security or technologies to keep the private information from being stolen or damaged. Okay, since the information is only written in a book, there's a risk it could be stolen, lost or damaged. The logbook itself, whether by accident, theft, natural disaster, in the situation of night market itself, there will rain, then that can damage the book. Unlike digital system that can be backed up, manual records are more vulnerable. Therefore, the suggestion would be the owner should use digital system that can be backed up using clouds. Alright. Lastly, to conclude, while the manual system has some solid strength like simplicity, low cost and independence from technology, it also brings challenges related to accuracy, security and scalability. For business planning to grow, it might be time to consider transitioning to more secure and automated system while still keeping the strong practices that are already in place. Therefore, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and greetings. In this part of the presentation, I will explain about the recording process of the Putu Mayam business. Although this business operate on the small scale, the owner still follow a basic yet practical method to manage and keep track of operations. To begin with, the way orders are received is quite straightforward. The most of times, customer come directly to the stall and place their order manually. This is a type of scene at roadside stalls or morning markets where the Putu Mayam is sold. The owner takes note of the orders verbally and prepares them on the spot. However, the business also accepts special order, and reservations, especially when customer need a large number of putu mayam for events or gatherings. In this situation, customer will usually contact the owner in advance through WhatsApp or phone calls. This show, although the business is traditional, it still adapts to modern communication methods to provide better service to regular and bulk order customers. Next, let's talk about the owner records daily sales. This part is done in a very simple way but effective way. Each putu mayam that is sold is wrapped using a piece of grease-proof paper. Instead of keeping a sales register or using a digital cashier system, the owner simply counts the number of grease-proof papers used at the end of each day. Then he multiplies that number by RM3.50, which is the selling price for the one serving. For example, if he used 100 pieces of grease-proof paper, he knows that he sold 100 servings, and that would give him a total sales amount of 350 ringgit for that day. This total is then recorded in a physical logbook where he writes the date and the sale amount. It may not be high-tech method, but it works well and helps him monitor his daily income accurately. When it comes to inventory management, the process is also handled manually. The owner keeps track of his ingredients and from memory and observation. Since putu mayam only require a few basic ingredients such as rice flour, freshly grated coconut, and brown sugar or palm sugar, the owner is able to estimate how much stock he has left just by looking at what is available at the stall or in his storage. If he notices that any ingredient is running low, he will restock them immediately. Although there is no formal inventory checklist for computer system involved, this manual method is still manageable and suits the scale of the business. Overall, we can see that the recording process in the business is kept simple and low cost, yet it's still effective in helping the owner stay organized. From taking orders, calculating daily sales, and keep track of full ingredient usage, everything is done with practically in mind. For small traditional business like this, what matters most is consistency and efficiency, not necessarily the use of modern tools or software. As long as the owner is able to keep things under control and meet customer demands, his method of recording is more than enough. To conclude, the recording process of putu mayam business may seem basic, but it reflects the real practices of many micro entrepreneurs in Malaysia. It shows how small food vendors operate successfully using experience, simple calculations, and strong understanding of their daily routine. While digital supports can help in the future, this method supports the business well and allows the owner to keep more on delivering fresh and delicious putu mayam to his customer. That's all from me. Thank you.